What's up, guys? Today we're just going to kind of go over different morphs or paint jobs of ball pythons. And obviously you really can't talk about the morphs or paint jobs without mentioning a normal, what exactly a ball python looks like. Now this here is an exceptionally sized female. She is a normal, or at least a visual normal. If you notice her belly, these belly scales, what a lot of us would call or refer to as track scales, they're really clean. Hush. They're really clean in comparison to an actual normal. However, everything else about her looks pretty well normal. So again, this is what we are comparing all the others to. And even though she is normal, she's still gorgeous. She really is. You really can't go wrong with a big girl. You really can't. That head is just massive. But we'll go over dominant genes, codominant genes, and recessive genes. So realistically, normal or wild type would be a dominant gene in comparison. But then this is actually two codominant genes. This is a pastel lesser. And with a codominant gene, that basically just means that you can produce a super form of that gene. For instance, lesser to lesser would produce a blue-eyed Lucy or super lesser. Now there's multiple ways to produce blue-eyed Lucies. You can do Mojave to Mojave, you can do butter to butter, Russo to Russo. There's a bunch of different ways to end up with a blue-eyed Lucy. But there's only one way to end up with a super lesser, and that is lesser to lesser. And again, he is also pastel, so you could produce super pastels if paired to a pastel. Which pastels, super pastels, they pop. They're really pretty. But then there's spider. Now we won't really discuss the cons with spider other than this is a codominant gene. So if I bred I think I said this is codominant. It is a dominant gene. So if I breed a codominant gene, I have okay. She's just being real active right now. I have the ability to produce super forms, but with a dominant gene, I do not have the ability to produce super forms. Codominant is the only gene you can produce super forms with. Calm down. But all in all, spiders, they're pretty. Calm down. They're known for a head wobble, which is why I don't really like to mess with spiders too much. It's okay. But you do have to have a spider to produce a lot of different paint jobs. A lot of different sought after designer paint jobs include the spider gene. So it is something that you do have to work with if you want to produce sought after morphs. What's up? But let's talk about different recessive genes. So recessive genes means if I breed this albino to a normal, 0 of the babies will come out albino. They will be het for albino or whatever the recessive gene is. Where's she at? For instance, pied or piebald. That is another recessive gene. So again, if I breed either one of these to a normal, I will not produce anything that shows either of these characteristics. If I breed these two together, I will not produce anything that shows these two's characteristics. I will produce normal looking animals, but they will both carry the hidden gene for albino and pied. So paired together, brother and sister for instance, I will produce albino pieds. If I kept a double het, is what we would call it, and paired it back to the father, bless myself, sorry guys, paired it back to the father, I could get pieds that are possible het for albino. If I paired a baby back to the mother, I could get albinos that are possible het for pied. Now let me put you back. This pied is actually a black pastel pied. Black pastel is actually a codominant gene, so this is a codominant recessive gene. Two gene animal, one is codominant, one is recessive, which is really awesome. So if I paired him to a normal, I have 50% chances to get black pastels, but 100% chance that all of those babies will be het pied. 100% het pied. Now, you'll see if you get into it, into the hobby with different morphs, paint jobs, and such like that, you'll notice how some people are saying possible hets or 66% hets. How is that possible? So what that means is the pairing was either a het to het or a het to a visual, okay? Some of those babies will come out 100% het for whatever the recessive gene is. For instance, we'll say pied. But not all of them will be het. And a lot of people, obviously they can't tell you, oh yeah, this one's het, but this one's not. It's a lot harder than that. So that's why we do the 66% or the possible hets. We don't want to tell people, oh yeah, it's a het, and it's not a het. That's how you get bad reviews, obviously. So that's basically it. Obviously, there's a bunch of different cool paint jobs. There's a bunch of animals that you can produce. For instance, an animal, get in there, like this. This is a kingpin. This is a dominant gene with a codominant gene as well. So pinstripe to lesser. Pinstripe is the dominant gene, lesser is the codominant gene. Really pretty snake. And then, where's she at? We have a phantom. She was just in her water dish, obviously, as you guys can see. Phantom is a codominant gene, which means I can produce a super phantom. Really pretty girl already, but the super forms are even prettier. If you guys get into it, you'll really learn as you go. It's not as hard, it's not as difficult as you would think. But again, I'm not going to go over all of the different morphs that there are. Not even, I don't even have like a fifth of the different morphs that there are. Sorry. I just wanted to show off what I did have. I wanted to explain kind of a little bit of the codominant, the dominant, and the recessive genes and how exactly they work. And I didn't really go over too much detail with it, but I didn't want to, you know, yeah. So there's that. All right, so this video right here, that's going to be my last upload. Make sure you guys go check that out. That video right there, that's actually going to be American Breeder's last upload. You guys should really go check them out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to my channel right there. Keep it going. Thank you guys for the 400+ subscribers. Take care.